We are situated on the ancestral homeland of the Rappahannock and Potawatomi tribes, and where enslaved people were forced to work on the land. We acknowledge that this land holds many histories, great stories, and the blood of the people. Good morning. I'm Jackie Arthur, she, her, and hers, and I will be your worship associate this morning. Here at the UUFF, we come together both in person and online as one community. We strive to nurture learning, inspire spiritual insights, create compassionate relationships, and lovingly transform our community and the world. If you're joining us as a guest or a first-time visitor here in the building or online, we're glad you're here. Those in the building are invited to leave contact information at the welcome table in the foyer. For those joining us online, you're invited to visit the worship portal on our website at uuffxbg.org and fill out our connection card. Whether in person or online, this will allow our ministers and staff to get in contact with you in the next week to come. Everyone is invited to fill out a card about a personal, significant joy or concern that you would like shared during the service. For those in person, you may pick up and leave your card at the Joys and Concerns table in the foyer. For those joining us online, you are once again invited to visit our worship portal on our website and fill out our Joys and Concerns form. Our pastoral care team member collects the in-person cards to read during the service. For those online, your joys and concerns will be read during the next service. Please join us after the service for coffee and conversation. Please join me in reading in unison our words for the lighting of the chalice. In honor of those we have known and loved in the past, in recognition of the gifts and sacrifices they have made on our behalf, and in our sincere hopes that we may be worthy of their memory, we light our candles, we give our thanks, and we offer our prayers. Amen. Time for all ages.
For this time for all ages, and we are going to just work together to get ourselves connected with nature while we're in the building. So those of you who feel inspired to join me can stand up. We're just going to do a little bit of stretching. If you can, stand. If not, you can stay seated and you can still do it from your seats. And I want everyone to think about becoming a tree. You might need to move away from your seatmates there. Can we all be trees? Ah, and maybe now the wind is blowing, and we just feel it in our leaves. All right, now everybody think about what it might be to be a rock, to be very still as a rock. You might get down, and maybe you're in the mud in a river, and you're getting turned into a stone, or maybe you're in the dry ground, or maybe a bird is coming and pecking around you to find some food. Okay, now I want everyone one more to think about what it might be to be a river, to be moving. How does that feel in your body? Just flow like a river. Everyone take a nice deep breath. Just feel how we're connected to the world around us. Ground yourself. Feel your feet grow roots. Feel how we're connected to the earth, to the sky. And remember that the peace of nature is always with us. There is no RE today, but if any kiddos would like to hang out in a nursery, we can help you get there right through this door. So if anyone would like to play in the nursery, you're welcome to today. Yeah, come on. All right, B. Come on. Yeah, you could. Either way. I'll meet you in the hallway. Good. I'm glad. You're welcome.
Intermission. Oh, thank you very much, Bruce. I knew something was missing. Thank you for doing that for me. May this be a house of joy, by Lucille Clifton. May this be a house of joy. May we be open here to dreams and to each other. May all who enter in these magic halls feel love and feel respect for learning and for each other. May we always be friends to life. May we walk in that friendship. May learning live in this house. May it never leave. Today, we have a wonderful young woman who is our guest speaker. Her name is Amber Dawson, and she is the founder of the Brompton Community School, an innovative, outdoor, nature-based learning environment established in 2020. Amber is passionate about fostering a love for learning through exploration and connection with nature. When not building forts in the forest, she enjoys spending time with her own kids, knitting, reading, and gardening. Let's welcome Amber Dawson.
Hi, thanks for having me today. When Gloria asked me back in the fall to speak here, I wasn't really sure what I was going to say, and then when I was practicing, I realized I had a lot to say, so I did condense it down. So I'm going to try and not talk too fast, but still convey the story. It's hard to convey the magic that has happened on our campus over the last 3 years. So I founded the school in 2020 when everything was shut down and schools across the world were closed. I'd like to say that it was an act of bravery, but really it was an act of rebellion. It was kind of like taking that first step was kind of like jumping in the ocean and being carried along by the waves. But in this case, it was more like jumping into whitewater rapids. So I would like to start with our mission statement, and then I'll end with our vision statement. I think those are two kind of nice capstones for us. And in between, I'll tell you what our goals are at our school, and then how we try to accomplish those goals. So our mission statement is to honor and educate the whole child by instilling in them reverence for the natural world, reverence for themselves, reverence for community, and reverence for learning so that they become lifelong servant leaders. When we were discussing our mission statement, when we were working on it, some people on the team, and I really wanted to hold fast to reverence because I didn't feel that just respect or just honor conveyed the whole story. To me, reverence means to respect deeply with awe and wonder, and that is what I want for our school. I want to respect deeply with awe and wonder all of the things around us. And we start with, reverence for nature because nature is universally the place where people feel the most reverent. Nature is wild and wonderful and awe-inspiring, and that's what we want our school to be like. So our goals, our first goal is to connect children to nature. Everything that we do is intentional, right? It's based on the past 50 years of research. So we know that connecting children to nature is better for their physical health, it's better for their mental well-being. It helps improve focus, boost mood, helps with emotion, it alleviates symptoms of anxiety. Unstructured play in nature encourages creativity and problem solving. Children can explore and experiment and learn through their senses. Playing outdoors with other children provides opportunities to develop social skills like cooperation, teamwork, and communication. It improves decision making. It improves confidence. It even helps kids learn how to move their bodies through space. When kids are climbing over rocks and climbing over logs and climbing trees and navigating through bodies of water, they learn where their bodies are in space. And that helps prevent injury when they move in other areas of life. So it actually helps prevent injury when they're playing sports, for instance. And it even improves eyesight into nature. Our second goal is to create a safe space where students can feel wholly themselves. We want them to make mistakes. We want them to be able to be kids. We offer at BCS that's different is compassion and wonder. There are very few things at our school that we feel, there are very few mistakes a kid can make at our school that we feel should be addressed punitively, right? We always try to help guide them through the mistake, because what we don't want to do is for a student at BCS to feel afraid to make mistakes. If we make them afraid to make mistakes, that's creating anxiety in them that is unnecessary. The exception to this is if it's a safety. Safety concerns always, are more, I lost my word, but we take safety concerns very seriously. They're allowed to ask hard questions. There are no topics in our classrooms that are off limits, because we want students to learn how to communicate with one another and with adults with respect, compassion, dignity, and grace, and we want them to families so that, the teacher will send an email home saying this discussion came up in class today. This is a synopsis of what we said. Please continue the conversation at home, because we feel like that communication and that teamwork between our teachers and our families is really important. So our third goal is to build and be part of a community. So we are a community school, and building reverence for a community strengthens our connections to one another. It fosters empathy, communication skills, and deepens a sense of belonging. Through interacting with our community, children learn valuable social skills. They see how to cooperate and navigate conflict in a constructive way. They benefit from meeting people with diverse backgrounds, and it broadens their understanding of the world. By contributing to their community, students gain a sense of purpose and accomplishment, and it makes students themselves feel valued. That sense of value boosts self-esteem and confidence. If you look at the blue zones around the world, so the blue zones, if you're not familiar, are the places where people live the longest, healthiest lives. The three things that make a difference are eating well, exercise, and a sense of community. So we know it's really important. And the fourth goal is to be the best place a teacher can work. So in order to create the magic at Brompton, our teachers work really hard. And it's not just about the labor or the time investment, it's about the emotional investment that teachers feel. When teachers go home, they don't stop thinking about how to help that student who didn't quite get the math problem right. They're thinking about it all the time. We know that teachers in the US are underpaid and undervalued. And at Brompton, my goals for my team are to make sure that they know that they are revered. It's that reverence piece for learning. So our goals for our team are to pay teachers at least a living wage for our area. We're not there yet, but it's in our long-term strategic plan. If you don't know what a living wage in the Fredericksburg area is right now for a family of four, it's $87,000 a year. We know that our teachers don't make that. We try hard to give them a work-life balance. My rule is if a teacher comes in early, they should leave early. They can't leave before the kids do. But if they come in before their work hours, they should leave as soon as the kids go home. We try really hard to not have them work nights or weekends, although sometimes that does happen. And we want to treat our teachers like they're real-life human beings with real-life human needs. I always say this is real life. And we understand that sometimes teachers, who are people, have to take time off to care for a family member or go to an appointment or rest. And we try to create an environment where they feel comfortable doing that. But the bigger goal for my teachers is for them to see the value in what we're doing and how we can impact education as a whole. Because all children deserve to have an education like this. And we would really like for Brompton to be a model for public schools so they can incorporate more nature-based, play-based education. So that's our goals. In addition to having great academic outcomes, but how we do it is also important. I think sometimes people look at our school from the outside and they think that we just play outside all day. I know, it's funny. And it does look like that sometimes. But in order for it to look like we play all day, there's a lot of work behind the scenes and in the classroom that happens. It's very difficult. And I'm going to go back to intentionality. Everything that we do is intentional. So 60% of our day is spent outdoors, rain or shine, hot, cold, snow, and all weather. We are outside more than we're in. And that time is spent both in academic endeavors, so learning, they might be doing math or language arts outdoors, but it is also, every class has at least one 45-minute block of unstructured play. And 45 minutes is intentional because that's how long it takes for children to engage in deep play, and that deep play is actually where the learning happens. So what they're learning when they're in deep play is, all of those transferable skills, the cooperation, negotiation, teamwork, but they're also learning how to build simple machines. They make pulley systems. They use levers. They build their own play equipment. We don't have a playground on our campus on purpose. They play with loose parts, and by loose parts I mean sticks, rocks. They have some building materials, leaves, mud. We have a giant mud pit that they love to play in. And one example I can give you of this is when we had all the rain in the spring and late winter, early spring, we had kids build a dam system And when I say they built this dam system, it wasn't 1 or 2 layers. It was 8 layers of dams that they built with doors to open and close when the water level got to a certain height so that it didn't overflow. And this wasn't our middle school class, our middle school kids, and it wasn't our older elementary kids. This was kindergarten through 6th grade, I think, working together to build this system. And it worked, and it was pretty amazing. But they need time to practice those things, and that 45-minute block gives them that time to practice, and they often get more than that. That play that they're doing, we encourage them to engage in risky play or adventurous play, and that means climbing trees. It might mean that they are sword fighting with sticks, rolling down the hill, because that risky play allows them to practice risk-taking. It increases their confidence, it boosts self-esteem, and it makes them better learners overall. The greatest threat to risky play is us, because a lot of times as parents we want our kids to be safe, and risky play doesn't always look safe. But there was a study done by Play Canada, and it was a 30-year study, and they looked at how long it takes kids to be hurt when they engage in risky play. And a child would have to engage in risky play for 3 hours a day for 10 years before they're at risk of serious injury, or injury that has to be treated. And oftentimes those injuries were not serious. So 3 hours a day for 10 years before they're at risk of actually hurting themselves. The rule at our school is if the adult is feeling nervous, the adult has to count to 17 before they say anything. And by then, the child has figured out that was either okay to take that risk or not okay to take that risk. The students do chores around our building to build community, self-esteem, and self-awareness. When we at home don't allow our children to participate in chores or helping out, they feel like they are not good enough to help us, right? And so it's important that we allow them to help so that they gain that value. We offer differentiated small group learning. We're not equipped for one-on-one learning yet, but we do have small group learning where students are grouped together by ability and access to learning. Our classrooms have a 6-to-1 ratio in the K through 5 classes, so there's 2 adults in those classrooms to help facilitate that. And then another big way that we're different is the intentional social emotional learning. We spend a lot of time focused on mindfulness practices, journaling. We do yoga. If you know Leslie Phillips, she does yoga for us every week for all the classes, and connecting kids to each other, to nature. All of that is as important to us as math and language arts at our school. Students have the ability to safely ask any question they want. And then our curriculum, the curriculum that we choose for language arts and math and science, it's chosen intentionally based on its ability to be taken apart. Loose parts at our school is a huge thing. So even our curriculum, we look at, can it be broken into other parts? And an example of that I'll give you is we start teaching Latin in kindergarten. And the reason we teach Latin starting in kindergarten is because if a student knows a prefix, a Latin suffix, and a base of root words, they can figure out almost any word, right, that they come across, whether they've seen it before or not. It's also the base for almost every Romance language or every Romance language, and you need it for the sciences and things like law. And if you know all of the parts of language, you can then play with the language to create new words. And we know that learning through play creates more meaningful connections and allows students to retain the information better and longer. Our students also start geography through map drawing in kindergarten with the goal that they're going to learn all the continents and oceans in kindergarten, and then every year after that they learn either 1 or 2 continents per grade level, with the end goal being in 6th grade. At the end of 6th grade they can draw the world map from memory. And when I say the world map, I mean continents, oceans, states, countries, capitals, mountain ranges, and rivers, so all the bodies of water. And the reason that we do that is so that kids understand that we are not alone here, that we're connected to everyone else on Earth. And part of that geography study is the study of other cultures, other people, other religions, so they know that there are diverse ideas beyond our own out in the world. And the reason that we do all of these things is to push students to think beyond themselves, to think critically, and do good in the world. So that's the goals of our school. So now I'm going to finish by reading our vision statement. By nurturing children's connection with nature, we recognize the pivotal role it plays in enhancing both their mental and physical well-being. This profound bond with the natural world not only cultivates a sense of wonder and curiosity, but also serves as a cornerstone for fostering resilience, creativity, and cognitive development. Research consistently highlights the myriad of benefits of integrating nature into education, demonstrating its positive impact on concentration, stress reduction, and emotional regulation. Exposure to natural environments stimulates a holistic approach to learning, igniting a passion for exploration and discovery. As students engage with the natural world, their academic achievements flourish, propelled by a deeper understanding, heightened motivation, and enriched perspectives garnered from their immersive experiences. Our school is committed to a culture where teachers have ownership and community is at the forefront. We aspire for the community to actively support our school and students, creating a reciprocal investment where our students and their families become integral parts of our community. In our classrooms, every task is purposeful, and we wholeheartedly believe in the transformative power of learning through play. Thank you.
Well, we all appreciate Amber coming today, and this is a time for congregational reflection. If you have any questions, Amber will be more than happy to address them as best you can. We have a wonderful sound person coming around, and she is giving sound.
Hi, my name is Jen Austin. I have a question. What do you do for students with special needs who are in your school?
Yeah.
Do you participate in similar practices for IEPs or 504s? What kind of support can you offer them?
So that question is, it depends. It depends on what the 504 and IEP is for and if we have the resources to accommodate. So we do have students who have 504s and IEPs in our building now, and it just depends on the resources that they need and whether or not we have them available. So it's case by case.
Yeah, I have so many questions. I don't know how much time we have. Just the practicalities. Are you K through 12?
We're K through 8.
K through 8. Okay.
K through 8.
And does this prepare kids the same as if they were in regular school systems for moving up the educational ladder?
It does. The only thing that we do not really prepare kids for is standardized testing, because we don't practice taking standardized tests. But yes, they have a full, the math standards, science standards, language arts standards. We don't follow SOLs, but we follow national standards.
And I'm intrigued to hear you talk about this Canadian study and just generally this idea of, overprotective parents. I'm constantly aggravated by my daughter and her husband, who seem to be way too overprotective of their children, and really, like so many other parents, depriving them of some opportunities to learn because they're so afraid of them injuring themselves. This seems to be a common theme.
Yeah, I think I need another hour to talk about risky play.
Hi. So, I'm actually wondering about like when you got started, whether or not you were kind of setting out to maybe have more of like a cooperative style, or were you always kind of planning to, you know, hire teachers and have, you know, a really official base for the school? I've actually been thinking about doing something similar, but I feel pretty like overwhelmed about like the logistics of it being like on a super official basis, and like I guess also whether or not you know of other projects that are like more cooperative style and maybe on a less official line, I guess.
Yeah, sure. No, the goal for me was always to have it kind of a more official, established, teacher-led school, but I would be happy to chat with you about, there's a lot of cooperatives out there. And you could do like a homeschool-based cooperative where parents come in and teach different classes. That's a good option, and parents are looking for that.
How are you integrating the arts into your program?
We have, so our kids go to, we call them specials, so they have art, yoga, and music every week. And then next year we're working on a roster of other creative classes that we can incorporate in 6-week chunks. So like the workshop, so we'll have woodworking for our older kids. We're hoping to get a potter out to do pottery with the kids and things like that. So we'll integrate it more as we continue.
So I'm a 4th grade teacher at Brompton School, and what Amber has created is nothing short of miraculous. And it was a vision that I had my whole life. I have homeschooled, I have been a public school teacher, I have been an ESOL teacher, I've been in education my whole life, and I'm still teaching because of Amber's school. So, you know, people look at us as a play school, but from my long experience in education, because children have the time to play and relax their minds and have these constant brain breaks, my 4th graders read 13 books this year, 7 novels they read on their own, some with parental support. So I don't just teach lessons in bits and pieces, but we go deep. We integrate art with I can choose to do any art project I want, you know, in my teaching. I mean, I could go on and on about what an amazing experience it is. And I'm a Virginia Master Naturalist, and my students do projects that I didn't do until I was an adult. And yes, they do play risky play, and sometimes I have to do this a little bit, and then I look back and go, they're still okay. But anyhow, I mean, it's really my life's passion, being able to, you know, work with Amber. And also, I'm going to put in a shameless plug. We're looking for a teacher or two, so if you know anybody, send them my way.
It's true, we are.
Well, okay. I would have loved to have been in your school, and my baby sister would have just been thrived there. But how available is it for people with low resources, or people of color, or what's the diversity?
Yeah, we have been lucky that our school is already pretty diverse, but we are constantly looking at ways, you know, our board is always looking at ways we can increase that. And as far as affordability, we know private school is expensive, and we work hard with families to make it as affordable as possible. Our school is all-inclusive, so I know when my kids we were looking at private school for my kids, it was already, the tuition was unaffordable for us, and then they add technology fees, book fees, field trip fees. So for me, it was important when we set our tuition that it was all-inclusive, so families don't buy school supplies, they don't pay for lunch. we have school gear, so because we go out in all weather, we have raincoats, fleece jackets, rain pants, boots, hats, that live at school for every student so that they're prepared to go out in all weather. What am I forgetting? Yeah, I mentioned lunch. Everything they need for school is in there. And then we do, 20% of our students receive some kind of financial aid. And we're working hard to increase that number. It's a balance between keeping tuition as affordable as possible and still paying our staff well. So we're trying to figure out how to get more funding outside of tuition.
What about diversity? How does that percentage-wise work?
So right now we're at 37%, I think, and working to increase it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, I was just wondering to put in a plug for OWL. Are you familiar with our OWL program? Because I heard that sometimes that gets outsourced. It's one of the UU things for Our Whole Lives, and there's a lot of information. Just to put a plug, maybe to at least have you look into that.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick one. I think Patrick does it. We went back. I was just going to say, I love the idea of how you integrate the nature. I used to work in environmental, and I'm just thinking it would, to integrate other skill learning, maybe you could get somebody from Virginia Game and Fish, or U.S. Fish and Wildlife, or National Park Service to come in and talk about how they use technology or do surveys or things to try and help wildlife or historic places. That might be a...
We do work with the National Park Service.
Great, I get to ask another question. So I went to this wacky school in England which kind of defied the maxim of spare the rod and spoil the child. You know, we virtually had no discipline. So, you know, kids don't seem to need the discipline if they're treated with respect that seems to be thought so essential in so many schools. I just wonder how you deal with discipline problems.
So again, it depends on what the student has done and if the repetition of the action, and if it's a safety issue or just a mistake. Kids make mistakes all the time. An example I can give you for us, so I had 2 kids after school one day who were staying for aftercare, and they were sword fighting with sticks. And as children do, they got carried away, and one kid he poked the other kid with a stick, and their consequence was they lost the stick playing privileges for the rest of the time. And that was really it. They lost their privilege to play with the sticks. But what the student went home and told mom was, if I had been in public school, that I would have been suspended for that. And that does not seem like a logical consequence. So at our school, we try really hard to focus on the logical consequence. If you break it, you have to fix it. If you write on the wall, you have to clean it. So logical consequences is how we deal with discipline.
I'm interested in the size of the classes and whether kids in different grade levels are put together, or do you have enough kids, say, in 6th grade for them to make up a class, or how that works?
So yeah, so our maximum class size is 12. And right now, for next year, K through 6th grade, we have 12 in every classroom. 7th and 8th grade, they're smaller just because we started with a smaller number of those kids in there as they go up through the grades. So the classes will sometimes collaborate and do projects together, but for the most part, they learn in their own classroom with some integration and collaboration, except for middle school, which is a little more fluid. those middle school classes, they tend to shift a little bit more. And outdoor play, when they're outside, our lunchtime, the hour and a half for kids, the kids have lunch, most classes are outside together during that time, and they can play together.
If somebody wanted to come and observe your school and your school day, is there a better day, time of day? Can we come in and just watch?
We don't generally let people just come in to watch for safety, but if someone wanted to come in for a tour, we can certainly set that up through our admissions coordinator.
Well, thank you. I think those are excellent questions, and thank you for conveying answers. This Sunday, we will be having a special Share the Plate. Half of the cash that we receive will be shared with the Brompton Community School, K through 8 independent school in Fredericksburg, Virginia, meeting the community's demand for an alternative to public and private schools. BCS offers a home-like, nature-based environment, as Amber has explained, with a rich curriculum that focuses on rigorous studies in math, language arts, history and science, as well as critical thinking and social-emotional learning, with ecology and environmental sustainability underpinning everything. Our offertory will now be gratefully received. Joys and Concerns will be next with Paula Barnes speaking. Can you speak a little louder?
I'm going to talk louder too. When I go to the drive-thru now, I'm filled up with Mr. Dolan. I call Bob, member of the pastoral care team, as a friend community research personal matters that belong with community and holding their hearts. And I'm happy with you. And that's it.
Oh, it wasn't me, it was a microphone.
Yay.
She's asking that now she's back on her feet, she needs financial help and appreciates any and all contributions and even loans, and she thanks us for that. I don't have a message as to how we can get that to her, but you can reach out to us and we'll go from there. Another one is Marcia continues to work with the court system and the custody battle, and she just continues to love our positive support for her. And I just want to share a situation yesterday, and I was on an unfamiliar narrow road, but right in the middle of the road between both lanes was a stop sign that I didn't realize, and I was just following another car in, but I smacked the stop sign and it disappeared. So I pulled over and called Stafford, and a very kind sheriff came, and she was so sweet. She didn't give me a ticket. She yanked the sign off of its foundation and jammed it back in the hole so it looks as good as new. And she said, by the way, your safety inspection expired last December. Get that done? And I thought, oh my gosh, because I was ready to plead my case because that sign came out of nowhere, honestly. So thank you. Amy Longyear. This needs got replaced, not this one.
No, I have this. I realized that somewhere along the line there was a little snafu that if you wish to come forward and place a rock into our water bowl here for concerns for people that are not present or you thought of, please do so now. And the closing hymn is As You Go On Way. I should say the video is As You Go On Way. Oh, okay.
Go on your way until we meet again.
Please join me in reading in unison our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of love and service. May it be a catalyst for spiritual growth and social justice as we carry it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. Go in peace, serve the world, return in love. Okay.